So it's going to be more of a ramble or a rant or a venting session today. Hope you stay with it. You'll learn something. I'm not really happy with what's going on, but let's see where it goes. We're in the office today. We're going to talk about the HUBSAN Mini, but specifically the X-Hubsan2 app. It just had a new update to 2.4.6, and I'll show you that here in a second. Okay, so I downloaded it and I got a prompt. I got a prompt that said, as you see here, do you want to upgrade? And this was, do you want to upgrade to the new one, which was 2.4.6, and it added speed limit mode. I'm not quite sure what that is. And it added the Xeno Mini Pro R aircraft to the selection menu and optimizes flight control. But I did the download and I installed it. And when I started up the Mini, I did notice that they fixed the prompt that came up saying that you had a serial number issue with your radio controller. That's no longer there. However, this 2.4.6, as you see here, has been installed. When I first started the drone up, the video was very shaky, like there was something stuck in the gimbal. I couldn't figure it out, and I tried it. I booted it up 3 or 4 times. It still shook. So then I knew the only thing I had done was I updated the app, because the flight yesterday was perfect. So I uninstalled the app and I reinstalled it bare bones from the App Store. And as you can see here, it's pretty good. Okay, now let's get into something else that's happened with this update. Now, disclosure, this is my experiences. And if I have it, I'm sure others have it. I'm not saying everybody has the same experiences, but this is what can happen. Okay, and this craft and all my crafts are very well taken care of. They're not abused, not taken out in bad weather, heavy winds, dropped, crashed, any of that stuff. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm waiting for satellites. This is the exact same spot that I took off yesterday. Had no problems. Waited maybe a minute for satellites. Okay. Here you can see, and you look in the bottom right hand corner, 12 minutes, over 12 minutes. Now I will admit, I restarted the drone twice in those 12 minutes because it hung up at 5 satellites and it hung up at 8 satellites. Then at 12:33, I got my satellites. Okay. Now, prior to that, I had decided to take it up with low GPS signal. And I'll show you a picture of that. In the settings, you can say take off without all your satellites. So I started up the drone without satellites, enough satellites, and I took it up. Okay, let's take it up and see if we can gain some more satellites. I'm being very careful. There we go.
Altitude mode.
It's in altitude mode. What does that mean? The prompt came up and said, you're now in altitude mode. But as you can see here, the description in the green box in the top says attitude mode. And the most common is attitude mode, which is ATTI mode. So basically, ATTI mode is non-GPS mode. You can go where you want, but you've got to be careful because you'll be blown around by the wind. So just after I took off, this other prompt came up, and it gives me information about this speed limit mode and visual hover mode and a maximum of 3 meters high issue. I still haven't figured that out. I don't know, because I could fly over 3 meters high and the speed was no problem. So I don't know what that's all about. We'll have to ask Hubsan about that. Well, later on in the evening, I decided that I would take it up for a night flight. And it's pretty dark out here, but it was an absolutely crystal clear sky with a full moon. Very bright, considering, okay? And I took it up and I said, well, I'll try this night mode, which I did. It's horrible, absolutely horrible. And I did try the difference between night mode and regular mode in the daytime. I'm going to show you these two pictures here. This one, well, screenshots. This one was normal, and this one was with night mode on. Richens it up a little bit. I'm wondering if that's the same as HDR. But at nighttime, when the full moon was bright, it just did not pick it up. And I'm not going to waste your time with the actual flight. I'll just show you the fact that here's the picture. It was horrible. It was horrible. Okay. One good thing about the nighttime, and I'll show you a picture here, is that the down-facing light, the searchlight, or whatever you want to call it, works really well. I mean, that LED is super bright. But if you turn the LED off and you're more than 15 meters up, you'd never see that drone. No. I just took it straight up, and about 15 meters, I lost sight of that blue light in the back. And it doesn't have any front navigation lights like some of the other drones. Okay, but once you turn that searchlight on, wow, you can see that a mile away. It's really incredible. So, what have we learned? The X-Hubsan2 app, version 2.4.6, corrected one little thing, introduced other things. This attitude mode or speed limit mode, even though the prompt states, like in this picture here, the prompt states GPS signal is weak. Yes. And you're supposed to be limited to a maximum of 3 meters, unless there's a difference between speed limit mode, whatever that is, and visual hover mode, whatever that is. Okay. So Hubsan's coming out with all these kinds of things, but I'm sure the right hand has no idea what the left hand is talking about. And again, it could be weeks before we find out the answer, because they're on a festival again. So hopefully in the next week or so, they'll figure it out, and we'll get some better understanding of what these new introductions are supposed to be. Okay, but for now, the only real negative I have is the fact that from last week to this week, the time it takes to obtain satellites to fly is ridiculous. It's really gone downhill for the HUBSAN Mini and the HUBSAN Xeno Mini SE. Now, the HUBSAN Xeno Mini Pro and the HUBSAN Xeno Mini, they acquire satellites much faster. But the experience I'm having with the HUBSAN Mini and the HUBSAN Xeno Mini SE is that GPS satellite acquisition has been significantly decreased with the introduction of these flight modes. Not an expert, don't know why, Let's hope we can figure this out in the next couple of weeks. Just thought I want to bring that to your attention. I still say the HUBSAN Mini is a really nice drone. Really, really nice. But they keep messing it with these updates. Okay, until I hear something else, have a great day. Bye now.